Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Death of a Gossip, which is book 1 in the Hamish Macbeth series. That's right, we're going way back to book 1 in the series, and we're going to do reviews on all of them right up to the current book in the series. These will definitely be rereads for me, but like the Agatha Raisin series by the same author, MC Beaton, I hope that the rereads will just open up things that I didn't notice before or didn't really appreciate in the novels, and maybe I'll get a fresh light into some of the characters and even Hamish himself. I'm really looking forward to doing this series of videos, so let's get started. So the structure of this novel on its whole is very different from the rest of the series. I was hesitant to start with book 1. I thought maybe I should go from book 2 onwards, but I guess that wouldn't be true to the full series, and it's important to start from book 1. I'll keep the description of this plot very brief, because a lot of this novel seems to be filler, and the plot is very simple. It boils down to this. The main story in this novel centres around a fishing school. This school teaches fly fishing for people who want to fish for salmon and trout in lakes in the Highlands. A new group of students is arriving at the fishing school. There are a whole range of different ages in this group, different backgrounds, coming from different countries even. We have 2 people from America, but they all are coming to learn how to fish. One of these people gets murdered, and the rest of them are suspects. Hamish appears on and off until the murder, very briefly. Until the murder happens, we just see that Hamish is a bit slow. He appears that way, and he appears just to be a moocher. He's there for free coffee and free food, not much else. After the murder happens, he seems to wake up a bit, and he seems lively and clever and energetic. This is also the stage where outside police force comes in, and we have Inspector Blair. Inspector Blair doesn't like Hamish from the onset, and it seems to be their first meeting. He doesn't seem to have known of Hamish beforehand, and his first impression of Hamish is that he's a yokel, a bit of a country fool, doesn't know what he's doing. So he tells Hamish to butt out. In true cosy mystery fashion, Hamish doesn't butt out and investigates on the sly. And in true cosy mystery fashion, he will solve the case. So I don't think I'm giving too much away there, because you have to assume that the main character will solve the case in these novels. If it doesn't happen that way, then the author hasn't done her job. All into the plot as well, we meet other characters from the village. Not many in this novel, only a couple, maybe 3 I think we do meet, who make appearances later on. The rest of the characters are just here for this one novel, and that seems a bit strange, because in these novels, in cozy mysteries, we expect the characters to keep on reappearing, and because we want those relationships between the characters, because that's one of the other main components of a cozy mystery. The mystery element, though, is done really well. We have a lot of suspects, a lot of red herrings, so it takes a long time for the culprit to be known, and you might find yourself not really knowing who the culprit is until the end. There are some clues throughout, so pay attention into the detail if you choose, or just go along for the ride, enjoy the fun, because cozy mysteries are written for us to have fun. We don't learn a great deal about Hamish in this novel. We just see that he is a bit of a moocher, a bit of a freeloader, always there for the grift, wants free coffee, free food, as much as he can get it. We also see that he's clever, even though a lot of people don't think he is. People assume that he's a bit slow, a bit dim-witted, a bit lazy. He does come round in the end, of course, and solve the case, so he can't be as slow as we think. But I don't get the best picture of Hamish in this novel, and if you didn't know that the series went on for so long and that his character may change after the first novel in the series, you may just give it up and think, why bother? Priscilla Hambleton Smythe. So Priscilla is the daughter of Major Hambleton Smythe, and they own a big manor house in the village. They're quite well off. Hamish and Priscilla seem to have a good friendship, and it seems to be, it could be something more in this novel, we're not sure. There's one point where Hamish does give her a kiss on the cheek and she's a bit surprised, but also thinking, oh, could that be something developing? We don't get anything further about that in the novel. Priscilla herself comes across as very nice, very genuine, very different to her parents. She comes across as very down to earth, and she seems to really like Hamish as a friend. In this novel, that's all we see. We see just the bare bones of Priscilla. The last character I'll mention is Blair. And I'll mention Blair because he's a recurring motif through the series. So at this point, we just see a bit of a bully, not too over the top, but maybe the makings of a bit of a tense relationship between Blair and Hamish. So we just get the bare bones of Blair as well. And that seems to be a theme in this novel. We're just getting the bare bones of some of the characters that do appear later on in the series. The story is pretty weak, although the mystery element is good. Just the way it's written, it seems to have a lot of filler, and it concentrates very much on characters that are just there for this novel, where I'd expect to learn more about key characters that are going to appear later on in the series. I get the impression that MC Beaton wasn't even sure herself if this series would continue, and so she didn't want to invest too much time in developing the village life that we get to know later on. I rate this novel a 2 out of 5, and that's just because the filler, just the story, is not very exciting. I've learnt too much about fly fishing in this novel that I wanted to, and that's a bit tedious detail. And it's not a fishing cozy mystery, so I don't know why we had to have so much detail about fishing. If I didn't know that this series would improve in future books, and this was the first time I'd heard of Hamish Macbeth and read this series, I may be tempted not to give further books a go. But I will be doing all the books in this series because I know there are some books in this series that are cracking reads.